Are you looking for a powerful way to get your message in front of a highly engaged audience? Hi, everybody. I'm Peter Stockdale with the Spin Market Report. Advertising on the Spin Market Podcast Network puts your business directly into the ears of our active listeners. Our podcasts have over 20,000 total streams in the last 12 months. That includes over 160,000 YouTube impressions and over 150,000 total views on YouTube combined. Whether you're promoting a product, service, or event, reach out to the Spin Market Podcast Network to find out how you can reach an actively engaged audience. So get heard today. Go to www.spinmarket.com to find out more information. Your business, your message, our platform.
It's the Spin Market Report. Here's your host, Peter Stockdale.
Hey, what's going on? It's the Spin Market Report. We're back here once again. Another Monday. It's Marketing Monday. We got Kimberly Baeth with us.
Hi, happy to be here.
That's awesome. So Kimberly Baeth, cutting edge success, but that's not where you started, right? Absolutely
not. I don't know where I started, but we're here now and I'm ready to tell you all about it.
Well, let's start with the educational part of this. What started you down your career path of all of this? I mean, you've worked, it seems like a pretty wide variety of jobs, all in the kind of the PR, marketing, branding kind of area. So what got you started in all of this?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Marshalltown, Iowa, and my father was a contractor in construction, and I grew up in a household watching him run a construction company. When I was 5 years old, I would go to the home shows with him, hand out popcorn, think that was just the cat's meow. We'd go to the mall, and that's where the home shows were, and my mom ran the household and made sure dinner was ready, and we built a house growing up, brick by brick.
Oh, cool.
Not just contractors. I'm talking physically brick by brick. I had to move pallets of bricks from the bottom of the driveway to the top of the driveway. 7,000 square feet, 3 lots. My friends would come over and help. They thought it was fun, but I literally had to finish my job before I could go anywhere. So I kind of grew up with the mentality that there is no finish line, nothing is surmountable or insurmountable, and just that work ethic that never stopped. And he's still doing construction.
Wow.
He's 77 years old. He probably left the house before I did this morning, and he's trying to sell his business. So if you know anyone that wants to buy a construction business, he is the concrete king in Marshalltown. And there's a little plug for my dad. And my mom passed away in 2017 of sepsis. God bless her soul, but it was horrific, and that's an infection that spreads all over your body. We don't know how she got it, but she also taught me that you should be yourself, wear polka dots if you want to wear polka dots, decorate for every occasion. So I feel like I got the best mix of both of them growing up. And I went on, and I was very active in high school. I played basketball. I ran cross country. I didn't even like to run, but I wanted to be the fastest person on the basketball court. I could shoot free throws. I made a 49 out of 50 in a free throw competition for the Elks Lodge and won that contest. And I decided to run to McDonald's and back one day, and I thought I was going to die. It was 2 miles. And then the cross country team said if you run 250 miles that summer, you'll win a free T-shirt. So I went for the free T-shirt and did it, and ended up picking up a liking for running, and ended up doing half marathons. I run the Boston Marathon the year of the bombs in 2013. Then I went on to do half Ironmans, and my goal is to complete a full Ironman, and that is 2.1 miles of swimming, 112 miles of biking, and then you run a full marathon at the end. So that's my goal here in the next couple of years. My daughter swam, so I had her give me a couple of swimming lessons. She ended up swimming for University of Kentucky on a scholarship. Then I went on to Iowa State for my degree. I had a double degree in journalism and public relations and then business communications. I still wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, but I probably knew I'd own my own business someday. Just not quite sure what, but something in that arena. And journalism I was passionate about. I did 4 internships in college. Each summer I worked for the Times Republican in Marshalltown and did journalism and writing for them. I was the aquatic swim lessons director for the Red Cross. I did public relations and marketing internship for Mary Greeley Hospital, and I also did one for the Rouen Grand Prix with events. So I kind of got a mix of all of the above. And then when I graduated at Iowa State, I had graduated with many, many accolades and awards there. I was in the Greek system. I was vice president of my sorority. I was Greek Woman of the Year. I was a football recruiter. I was just one of those people you couldn't slow down, and everyone.
We haven't even gotten to the job yet.
Yeah, and so I just was very active on campus. I loved what I did. I loved helping others. I gave back even at that age, and I always wanted to be involved in the community. Not necessarily in a political aspect, but always know what was going on, when and where. So I thought maybe I'll apply for a job at a Chamber of Commerce. And that's what I did. And I got the job. And that was in Minnesota, actually. And my husband had one more year to finish at Iowa State. So I was working at the North Hennepin Chamber of Commerce in Minnesota. And my job was the membership services director. And that was to bring on more people to join the chamber. That was my job. And they would send me to ribbon cuttings, and they would send me with a ribbon no wider than this jacket ribbon right here and my little rusty scissors from my desk and say, go make magic happen. And I'm like, okay. So ribbon cuttings existed, but there was no rhyme or reason to anything. And sometimes people would come. Sometimes the owners didn't even know they were having one. And I had to make this sign. It was a cardboard sign, and I would stencil their letters, welcome to North Hennepin Chamber. Sometimes there was no food. Sometimes there was, nobody there. Sometimes the mayor would come. So I said, how do we make this more eventful? How do we make it more celebratory? So I got, the local grocery store to donate bottles of water. I got the florist shop to bring some flowers. I had the bakery bring a cake. And so all of a sudden it started to have more people, more excitement. I wrote a press release, and all this was just in my spare time. And I took this to the board, and I said, people want more excitement, more, pizzazz. How do we keep doing this? And then they're going to join the chamber, because if it's successful, they joined. If it wasn't, they didn't. And so long story short, I took the back of our sign and I made a cardboard scissors. So at least we had giant scissors that they didn't cut, but they were fun and they were exciting, and people got really excited about cutting with big scissors, and more people started to come. So eventually I asked my dad for my 26th birthday to make a pair of wood scissors with razor blades that cut. And I painted them gold, I painted them silver, I made different colors. And people wanted to buy them. Other chambers were calling to rent them. General Mills wanted a pair with every single cereal brand on them. And the chamber phone was ringing off the hook. We had the top growth membership in the state, and they were dangerous. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be sued before I'm 27 years old. But we were on to something. And so the board was like, Kimberly, you're already too busy. You're doing our gala. You're doing our fundraiser. You're doing the fun run. You can't keep doing more with ribbon cuttings. And I'm like, well, yes, I can. And so I don't like to hear no. So I said, here's my 2-week notice. I'm going to join the chamber. And I started Golden Openings. And so my husband's like, you have 2 weeks or 2 weeks, you have a year to make a profit or you're going back to work. Because we were just newlyweds. He worked at Anderson Consulting. He traveled a lot. Then we also had one other thing happen that year is I got pregnant. So we had just gotten married and Stephanie was born in October, and we were so busy by the time she was born, he had to go orchestrate 2 grand openings while I was in the hospital. And I remember the doctor took my phone away. We didn't have cell phones back then. There was no internet. And he's like, you need to stop working and just focus on the baby. And he took my landline away. And then on the way home from the hospital with our bracelets on, we had to stop and deliver scissors, ribbon, bows, and everything at a grand opening. And eventually we set out and I patented and trademarked the first pair of giant working ceremonial scissors that actually cut. And from there we went on and developed over 100 different pairs of ceremonial scissors. So these were actually the first pair, and they still exist today, and they cut. And we went on to have 40-inch scissors, 6.5-inch scissors, gold, chrome, and people will put their logos on them. And they were the talk of the town.
All right. Well, one question, you answered about 4 of them on here.
Yeah.
All right.
I heard you say make a long story short, and then we went another 5. This is going to be a great podcast. It's going to be easy on my end.
Thank you.
So what I'm thinking here is golden openings. You said you started golden openings. Can you explain like exactly what it is, what your initial vision was for it? We know how it came to be, but like you had a year to make money. How did all this work? How did it start? What did you change to better it throughout that year?
Absolutely. So I never had a doubt in my mind, and neither did Kevin's friends. So we were actually sitting over pizza. We had just gone skiing, and I just pitched this idea with some of his fraternity brothers and said, ceremonial events exist, but there's just no pizzazz to them. There's no keys to the city. There's no groundbreaking shovels. All of these events exist, but you can't go buy these products anywhere. So I said, all of this could be a business. And they're like, yeah, go do it. You can do it. And Kevin's like, no. And he's an engineer and he believes in me. He supports me. We've been married for 28 years. But the risk taker is me. I'm like, figure it out as you go, jump off the cliff, make it happen. And he's like, let's think about this for a couple of years. And I'm like, go. So I had this vision, and there was no internet back then. And I called trophy shops, I called manufacturing places, and I couldn't find any of this stuff. So I knew it was going to be successful. And buildings were being built day after day, by the hundreds back then. And I would just literally walk around to people and say, what are you doing for your grand opening? What are you doing for your groundbreaking? And I would hear nothing. Like, no, we don't have a plan. They were so busy working on their employees, their infrastructure, their building. And then they didn't have the audacity or the thought to connect with the community, the governor, the mayor, the city, their employees. And I said, this is a key part of getting established and making connections. And this is, you only have one chance to make a first impression, to make everything work. And this is your time to do it. So eventually I wrote 3 guidebooks: how to do your own ribbon cutting, how to do your own grand opening, how to do your own groundbreaking. And for those that didn't want to, hire us to do the event, they could buy the book and do it. And we ended up serving Fortune 500 companies, Oprah, Disney, the White House. Every time somebody goes to Vegas, they get a key to the city that we made. Just hundreds of franchises, and we had kits. If you couldn't make up your mind what you wanted, you could pick a kit. And it just went on, and it just grew 32% every year for 27 years. And then in 2021, after the pandemic, everyone in 2020 couldn't have their event, so they had it in 2021, and we grew 84% that year. So it was just astounding, the growth that we accomplished in those years with this little niche business of ceremonial events. And then it still came to be like, listen to your customers. What do they want? And if we didn't have it and it was still in our lane, I said yes. I remember one day someone asked for a giant light switch, and we didn't have those, but I said, yes, we do. And so I found a woodsmith maker to make me a giant light switch. And you say, well, what would you want a giant light switch for? And a lot of people use them for the community when Christmas would happen or the celebration in the town and all the lights come on. They would flip a switch and we'd make them red and white striped for candy cane or put Santa on them. Or then the solar people got word of that, and now they're doing solar openings with those. And they sold almost every week, and we had them in 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot. And, these giant light switches became the rage.
Crazy. That's awesome. So we talked about a lot of success stories. How about some challenges that you faced and overcame along the way? Was there something that like on your mind where you're like, this was something tough and it actually did take a little bit to get over this hump? And then when we finally got there, smooth sailing. Cause we're talking about stuff you've invented. So we got the big scissors, we got giant light switch. I think I even saw a somebody said gold shovel.
Oh, absolutely.
You're kind of the person that
gold shovels, chrome shovels, keys. Yeah. Oh, there's challenges every day. Life is full of challenges. It still is. There's so many. I could fill the whole podcast with challenges, but I think you just have to take them with a grain of salt, learn how to pivot and move on. One of the funny stories was Bass Pro Shops was one of our main customers, and they do a winter wonderland. I don't know if you've ever been in there during the holidays, but they decorate like there's no tomorrow for the holidays, and Santa comes, and they ordered all their ribbon and bows and decorations from us. And they had these stanchions for crowd control, and they were kind of hollow, but they looked like docks. And this was their request. So we kind of invented these too. And they shipped from China perfect, all the samples, no scratches, no dents, no nothing. And then when we got them from US and started shipping them to all the stores, I would get these phone calls and say, we have 5 out of 12 broken. And they have like 84 stores. We have 7 out of 12 broken. And it was like a nightmare. Every phone call, some got them okay, but what happened was UPS was just like throwing them, and we got videotapes, and UPS is my friend and they're our customer, but it was just like they wreaked havoc on these, and they were kind of made out of fiberglass. So they were wrapped in styrofoam, protected. And long story short, I mean, this took about a year to recover, but UPS had just completely damaged these and ended up buying them. So we actually sold them twice. So it ended up a good story. UPS owned them. And China was able to replace them in time. I don't know how, because we started in like September to get Bass Pro all their stanchions before the event for the holidays, but it was a disaster. And I remember crying in my living room for night after night going, how could this happen? You know, they came from China just perfect, and then you can't even get them from my place, you know, in Urbandale, Iowa, to locations in the United States, and they all arrived damaged. And just getting those phone calls, though, I felt like it was mini heart attacks, one after the other. And there were so many stories like that, you know, with shipping or claims or, you know, things you can't control. That's one thing in business I learned, that you have to learn to control what you can control, and what you can't control, you just got to pivot, make a better decision, what else can be done, investigate the problem, and try and find a better solution.
So can we talk about how golden openings and front row sales and then cutting edge success, those are the 3 companies I had written down. Like, what are those 3 companies? How did they merge and or do something? Because what I have written down is golden openings merged with front row sales, and then you started cutting edge success. So can you kind of walk us through how that process happened?
Absolutely. So I owned Golden Openings for 28 years, and about the last year in business, we had reached our summit, or our peak, I would say, and I was working about 18-hour days. Staff was hard to come by. To me, we would have had to put about another $1 million into it, and we could have, and hired about 20 more people. And I just felt like it was time to sell, because we were on top. Everything was wonderful. I said, at this point, I'm not even able to attend my own children's weddings because it needed to be scaled. And I saw a whole bunch of different visions, and I wasn't being fulfilled as a person, because I've always had the mentality that work is a work-life balance, and you work hard and you play hard. And I wasn't playing anymore. I was only putting out fires and working and working and working. And I'm the type that when somebody places an order like the White House, I send them red, white, and blue tennis shoes. And when someone does an event, I go there and I show up. And when I'm asked to speak at a graduation, I go speak. And I was having to say no to some of those things. And that just wasn't me or my personality. So my husband and I talked about it over about a year. And I said, yeah, I think I'm okay with selling it. It was bittersweet. It's my baby. You know, it is like, okay, this is a big decision. But I didn't want to retire, because I have so many connections, so many people, so many things I still care about, and so many things that I want to offer the world. So I said, well, if I sell it, then I'm going to start another business. And then my husband's like, okay, well, you got a year to make a profit, or you're going to go work at Walmart and stock shelves. I'm like, okay. But, you know, so I started Cutting Edge Success. And yes, Front Row in Minnesota purchased the business, and they are in Minnesota, and they are running with Golden Openings. They have established that I am the founder, and they are going a different direction. And I started Cutting Edge Success so I could help other people reach their dreams and goals. And I am primarily focused on now entrepreneur speaking, business growth speaking, business growth consulting. I am going to be doing digital work for companies with their website, with their 5-star reviews, with any of their pain points, like how did you grow your company 32% over 27 years? How did you have all these connections? How did you establish all these Fortune 500 companies and help them reach their goals and dreams? And and it's not just like, okay, I'm a business coach and off I go, but a true, walk the walk, talk the talk, did it. And I'm already been helping people all the way from 7 years old. My nephew, I just had him on a podcast, and he's a lifter and he has his own little talk show, all the way up to a 90-year-old who is retired, but he said he just feels stuck in life. And our tagline is cutting edge success in business and life. And he's like, well, what's next for me? I'm 90. What can I do? What are my passions? Well, I said, do what you love. And what are you passionate about? And what's your why? Why do you get up every day? Why do you do what you do? And help people just really feel happy at this point in their life, no matter what stage of business or life they're at. And that's why I started Cutting Edge Success.
Nice. So you said you kind of started Golden Openings to help people live out their dreams. And it kind of sounds like it helped you live your dream out of starting Cutting Edge Success.
It did. I believe it is a true full circle. And I think I can really offer the world a lot through Cutting Edge Success.
So what were some of the experiences you had through Golden Openings that helped you with Cutting Edge Success? Because it sounds like it's an adjacent thing, but it's not exactly the same type of thing. So one, you're working a lot of, I would say, maybe PR and marketing, but the other one is like PR and marketing in a different sense, right? You know what I'm trying to say?
I do.
Okay.
There are so many, because I had the hands on the ground, the work, the real world life experiences. Like I said, there's 1,000 business coaches out there. There's 1,000 speakers, but I don't feel like that until you really live it, talk it, walk it, share it, experience it. What I say at Golden Openings is we sold experiences. We might have had 2,000 products. We might have made, lots of money, high profits, source items overseas. We won over 30 awards locally, nationally, internationally, including being named the Small Business of the Year by the U.S. Chamber. I mean, that was surreal in 2017. I still can't even believe that happened. And until you have experienced those, witnessed those, how can you honestly help others achieve that dream, or help them write the application, or encourage them to even go do that until you've experienced it, and then help them create experiences in their own businesses, in their own lives, get past what they're stuck with, and then put it on paper and actually go do it.
Nice. So you do a lot of public speaking, you were saying, and kind of mentoring. Even, do you do that like to groups, or do you do that one-on-one with like small groups of people, like go into a business and kind of rile them up, or when you do your public speaking, what's your message, or what are you hoping to get across to the people?
A lot of my public speaking has been to entrepreneur classes at colleges, universities. They are students that are trying to invent something or be a business owner. And that has been very successful, and it is a very hot topic right now, entrepreneurship. And the kids are curious, they are eager, they are excited, and I feel like I go into the room and I energize them and I fill them with spirit and hope, which is what the world needs right now. Another topic that's hot is, I call it how to sell ice to Eskimos. We have sold products to and shipped items hundreds a day to all the continents except Antarctica. So there's very few businesses that have shipped global and been successful at doing it. So I feel like selling an experience, and people get focused on the numbers and the products and what's in the package and how's it going to get there. But more, it's like, well, what's the end goal? How are you going to use this product? Who's going to be there? What are you going to wear that day? When's your birthday? How's your kids? And it's more than just delivering that product and then meeting deadlines and answering the phone. I'm astounded at how many businesses I call and leave messages and I don't even get a phone call back. So it's just like being present, being alive, being a real person. And then people are scared of this whole AI movement too. Like, are there going to be any real people left? Are we going to be working with robots? If we are, how do I work with a robot? and I'm willing to cross that bridge and learn more about that. And thankfully, I have people that are talented and know AI inside and out. So if I have to cross that bridge, I will, and I'll help them with AI. And I just feel like that the world is endless opportunities. It's constantly changing. Another speech that I gave just Sunday was Celebrate Everything. And it was a group that was, it's called The Plaza. And there's people there that are 21 years old and they're 99 years old. And they just wanted to hear my story. And what do you think about just how to operate in this life, this day and age? Should we be scared? Should we be happy? Should we be worried? What should we do? They just wanted a happy, positive message about, enjoying the journey that we're on, like enjoy every day. And that's the message that I gave. And it wasn't my normal message. And my daughter was in the room, Stephanie, she's 27. And I felt like I had to change everything I've ever said just for that group. But it was really special.
Well, I think that brings up some really important points when you talk about that you've experienced it. There's a lot of consultants out there that did really well at their job within another company, but they didn't necessarily start a company from scratch, or they didn't have to go through all the things internally in order to get that company.
And the trials and the tributes.
They did underneath somebody else making sure that the payroll is done and everything else. But doing it yourself is a whole different level of having that coaching part on there.
And then a few other topics that I've spoken on that have been very successful. A lot of colleges and universities, again, and small businesses, with our groundbreakings, grand openings, and ribbon cuttings, is how to do those events. You'd be surprised that people just don't know how to do them, or they think they know how to do them, but they're not doing them correctly. And then they don't get the results that they want, or they said nobody came to my event, or the newspaper didn't come, or how come we didn't have any food, or this cost me $100,000. Well, I've gotten $100,000 events paid for by sponsorships, and we made money and we had to give it back to the cheer squad. So you don't always have to spend a lot of money to be successful either. So I've also given many, many talks and how-to seminars on those events as well.
Well, if you can't track down Kimberly and get her to come to your location, buy her books, because she has books on this as well.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was thinking was so you had to write a book about that. Well, you didn't have to, but you decided to because there's no hard and fast rules for this. So you said, let's etch a few out and see what we can do with these. Did writing the books change your perspective on all of this at all? Did you have to sit back and measure everything a little bit more and be like, okay, sometimes we do this, usually we do that, but now we need to change what we're doing here a little bit. And this might be, if we were going to organize it all out on a first do this, second do this would be the best way to do it.
So in full disclosure, I don't think I ever wanted to sit down and write a book. Buffalo Wild Wings hired us to write a grand opening manual for their store, or their restaurants. And I cringed, and we had to bid against about 10 other companies. This was in Minnesota, and they interviewed us. They had us come in. We had to show pictures, slideshows, credentials. It was one of the most grueling processes I've ever been in, and we won, and we were hired to write their grand opening manual from beginning to end on everything that would happen for all of their grand openings. So that's what started the journey of why don't we have grand opening guidebooks, ribbon cutting guidebooks, groundbreaking guidebooks, and then eventually even a grand opening guidebook.
Ooh, cool.
So I said, well, if I can write this thing, I should surely be able to write a generic one for everybody else. So that's what actually truly started the process.
That's fun. I don't think I could have found that online if I would have tried to look that up.
No, you probably wouldn't. And they were very successful. They still are a very successful restaurant chain, and they have used us for other items as well.
That's cool. So we talk about, now we're shifting into, we're doing marketing, PR, you're essentially mentoring businesses in a sense, kind of, right?
Correct.
All right. So what have you found that, what strategies were been the most effective while you've been kind of adventuring your way through this?
Absolutely. I think that most people have to find out that you have to do what you love. I think be passionate about what you're doing. And again, know your why. It's not how you're doing it or what you're doing it. It's why you're doing it. Show zest, enthusiasm, know your customers. Everything that you do, you have to put your heart and soul into it and be responsive, and then be engaged with your community. I think that's so important, and hold leadership positions. Like I said, I serve on several boards, and give back to the community when you can. For example, The person that helped us make our first scissors had passed away from brain cancer, so we held a Cutting Out Cancer event for them and raised $27,000 for John Stoddard Cancer. And we had like 50 vendors and a silent auction, and it was just a good fit. And it was also our ribbon cutting for our new office. So instead of just cutting a ribbon, we called it Cutting Out Cancer. And then when 2 police officers were shot in Urbandale and Des Moines, the big box stores ran out of blue ribbon and everybody was in a panic. It was on TV. I said, well, I can get blue ribbon. So I ordered in 50,000 yards of blue ribbon and we handed it out. And people were lined up down the block for their free blue ribbon, and we're tying it around trees. I forget how long ago this was, over 10 years ago, I believe. But it's just those little things that you can do to make a difference. And it wasn't for attention or for, public relations or marketing. It was just the right thing to do at the right time. Mm-hmm. And then we sell big spoons. And I remember one time somebody asked if I'd go help load a food truck for Marshalltown, my hometown. And I said, sure, I would. It was a church. And so I brought my big spoon, and people thought that was so funny because we were loading up the cereal boxes and the pantry items with this great big spoon. So sure enough, the Times Republican shows up and takes pictures, and it made the front page of the paper. So just being creative and different and something that just is going to break up everyday, mundane, boring life is what I try to do and intertwine and give people ideas to do.
That's awesome. So you're teaching these entrepreneurs how to, in essence, brand themselves in a unique way that sets them apart from maybe even somebody within their own industry.
And you don't even have to break the bank. It's kind of called guerrilla marketing too, which I'm also intertwined with. I wrote a book for guerrilla marketing called Guerrilla Grand Openings, and that is yet to be published. I'm working on that, but it's the untraditional way of marketing that you don't have to spend a lot of money to be successful. And it's kind of like that subliminal marketing this goes back to like, oh my gosh, the 70s. J. Conrad Livingston invented it. It's been in school books. It's been in textbooks. And it is me to the core. So I'm working on that book as well.
So that's a lot of good advice here for entrepreneurs or people with small businesses or starting businesses. Do you have any other advice top of mind that we haven't really covered up till this point? That's discussing maybe something for somebody that's looking to be an entrepreneur or somebody that's just starting out. What's the best way to kind of brand themselves as an entrepreneur?
Just be the expert in your industry. That's what I say. If you're cutting hair, you need to figure out a way to make money while you're sleeping. Everybody wants to make money. I mean, that is the end goal. I never worried about it. I always asked my husband, Kevin, who has a completely different job. He helped with my taxes and the HR and the back end stuff. And I give him full credit for being so supportive, and my kids. I remember, if we had a balloon arch that had to be put up, they were the first people I called. And I need help. It's midnight and I'm not ready. But, like if you're cutting hair and you want to make money at night, you should write a book about cutting hair. You should know the latest hair products. What grows your hair? What's the best conditioner? What's the best brush? And just own it, And then I had a beautician call me one time and said, I want to make a big splash. What could I do that's different? So I said, well, why don't you rent our giant gold scissors and cut somebody's hair that's long, and it'll go viral on social media. And oh my gosh, it did. And I could show you that video. And sure enough, she cuts this girl's long hair with our giant gold 40-inch scissors, and the whole world saw it. And she's like, thank you so much. She goes, you increased my business. She's like, just with that little idea. So just own it, be you, and just take complete control of your industry, and it will take off.
So you've got all these great ideas, marketing for other people. Have you applied any of these fun marketing, going viral type tactics to your own business?
Oh, it has, or I wouldn't be where I was today. Like Dunkin' Donuts came to us after the pandemic and said, we really need something to create a buzz. And what do you have any ideas for us? So I brainstorm ideas for my clients all the time. And they were really struggling after the pandemic. Dunkin' Donuts, the world runs on Dunkin'. Do they ever really struggle? No. But they said, what could we do to make a big splash after the pandemic to get everyone back in our stores? And I said, let me think on that a little bit. And so what we came up with is putting pink and orange pennants in every single location and Mylar balloons. We pitched a whole bunch of ideas, but that's what we came up with. So it came up to be like 83,500 Mylar balloons. Every store got 5 balloons or 10, I don't remember, and ribbons, and then 2 pennants, like 100-foot pennants, and they decorated every single store in the whole United States, including airport locations. And people were taking pictures, people were coming in, it went viral on social media, and they loved it so much they did it for National Coffee Day 2 more years.
That's fun.
That was just a fun idea.
And so simple.
It really was.
It's because what you're talking about is just a concept that was able to be duplicated easily.
Yes.
At each of the stores.
And it got all the staff excited. It got all the community excited. It got the kids excited. And people were taking pictures. And then some of the people wanted the balloons, so we had to ship more because the kids took them home. And it just became this thing that was just, you're right, simple, but just completely crazy. And they loved it so much they did it again. So, and it all drop shipped from China. Now, there were glitches with that. I'm not even going to tell you about the container that got locked and dropped off at a UPS slot that couldn't get it into. And, again, there's challenges with all this, but we figured it out and it went off seamlessly.
Well, the wild part about that, I mean, we're talking about some challenges, and here's the defense of you're shipping something all the way across the world from somebody that probably doesn't speak the same language as you, or it's just, it's like it made it across the ocean on a boat. It's like you think about all this stuff just to get here to have it's not a small snag to have it dropped off somewhere. But the crazy thing is, like, it works. I can't believe that system works, to be like, hey, I need a zillion balloons. Can you ship them over here? And
it works because I was behind it. And I'm going to make sure it works. And I'm going to be at that parking lot unlocking that container with a bull if I have to get the head of UPS in a big bow wrapped around him and say, get this container unlocked.
Oh, I love that. That's so fun that it just, the whole world market is just so mind-boggling sometimes. It's so crazy that it works as well as it does.
It is. And that's one reason we were able to be successful profit-wise, too, is a lot of our products eventually started in the United States. All of them did. And then we were selling so many, even Tom Carter, who helped us make our first scissors at Quality Manufacturing, said, you're selling so many of these. He's like, I want to sell you scissors, but Kimberly, you need to take these overseas. And, at first I thought, how am I going to do that? Well, now, 75% of our things came from overseas. Pakistan, Vietnam, China. When China slapped the tariffs on, we pivoted to Vietnam.
That's so fun to think that, like, there's somebody out there with probably like a metal manufacturing company. He's like, yeah, I'll make some scissors on the side for you. It's not a big deal. Then all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to have to quit making everything and only make scissors. And I don't know if I want to be the scissor company. So,
right.
So let's
and they were much bigger than that. I mean, they can make roller coasters. They make stainless steel. They make all the John Deere tractors, and he was being nice. But yeah, for real.
That's fun. So you talked about being on different boards, organizations, things like that, growing up. Even post-college, you were in Chamber of Commerce, North Hennepin. Have all of those experiences shaped exactly how you looked at the world? Because, we all grew up in the same world. We all kind of live in the same world, but, like, not everybody sees things the way that you do. Was that what shaped you the way you were? Or are you going to hearken this back once again to your parents again? That the perfect blend of, like, work hard but express yourself?
No, because I feel like even my husband's parents, they were teachers and counselors, and my husband and my family, I think every day shapes me because everything, again, is constantly changing. And I think you have to pivot, change. My mom's death changed me to see the world differently. I feel like I'm always constantly changing as a person and learning. I don't think I've reached any epiphany by any means, and I'm constantly learning, and I make mistakes, and I'm growing as a person. I'm human. I don't think there's one time, place, moment. I think I have a lot of energy, and I have a lot of gifts to bring to the world, and what I truly enjoy is honestly helping others, though, and that makes me excited. And I feel like when I help others, I feel better about myself, and that gives me energy. And then when I work out and run, I do hit that runner's high, and that's when a lot of my creative ideas come to me. And then another thing is I have to learn to streamline myself, because sometimes I get too many things going on at once, and that can be dangerous.
Can't imagine that at
Yeah.
all.
So I want to have about 50 things going on and ideas, and then I have to bring it back down and streamline it, or what's most important, what's my deadlines, because I could have 50 lists of things I'm working on, and then what's the priority, what's the goal, what's the end. Otherwise, I would be a disaster.
Well, it's fun you're talking about that, because that's actually the next question on here. So you got marathon runner, triathlete, you got a family, you've got a business that you sold and then started a new business. How do you balance all of this? Like, what is the secret to all of this?
Just prioritize and make time. I always try to put family and friends and business first, that balances and what's most important. If someone needs something in my family first, I'm going to drop everything and do that. If it's friends, I keep old friends, make new. If it's a business deadline or priority, I joked with Cheryl that, when someone's paying you, it's less hard to go drop everything and help. But when you're getting paid, I feel like I would spend the whole night meeting a deadline. So it's funny to see it in reverse. To meet deadlines and sacrifice things and then rest. Like, I am not one who likes to rest, or my rest is going on a 10-mile run, and people just laugh at that. But, some people like to watch TV. I like to watch movies. I like to do everything. That's the thing, is I like too many things, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but just trying to find that balance, and then make sure I get enough rest, enough sleep, enough, try and read a book. I have to make myself do things that people naturally do. And that is where I have to make myself come down, focus, go on a boat ride, walk barefoot, watch the sunset. Most people embrace that, and I have to force myself to do those things.
I think that's a really good point, because I totally understand that as well. Other people think of that as their normal part of their life, is watching the sunset or getting on a boat or, planning weekend activities. And for both of us, it's things that we actually have to put on the calendar.
Correct. And
in
I
order
like
to get it done.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just, I enjoy work. Like, work motivates me. Helping other people motivates me. It is. It's an energy high.
Yeah, I mean, you said it before. Everybody's got different motivators in life, and I think maybe the motivator we're looking at here is obviously, like, doing the job and getting paid, obviously, is first and foremost, or like it's right up there. But like just getting the job done, I think, is just getting to the finish line is like the one thing
for anything.
Yeah, which I think like fits well with all of your running. So like that kind of brings me to the next thing. You have to be disciplined to be able to run a marathon. You can't you could just be like, I'm going to go run a marathon tomorrow. It would be horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, the day after would probably be the worst thing ever.
That would be terrible.
But like, did you learn like discipline from that, or have you taken some of your work life balance that you have and then used the discipline from that to do athletics, or are they kind of
I think they're all intertwined, and then I'm a very good multitasker. Somehow I can, and Kevin says I have this gift that I can orchestrate about 25 things going on at once. I can listen to multiple conversations. I remember people's names, birthdays. I have a gift that I don't get overwhelmed, and I can orchestrate all that, and I actually thrive on it. So I think that is a gift that I have put to use. And then having the background of growing up, and you go sort 100 nails from rusty to stainless steel, and you're not leaving until they're finished. Most kids would go cry, and I would be like, okay, whatever, I'll get it done. It was just like in my blood.
So I do want to talk about some future goals, because this sounds like you got like a great plan here with Cutting Edge Success. You have a ribbon cutting April 8th, which as of the date of this release is tomorrow. So what are some of your goals for Cutting Edge Success post ribbon cutting? Are you focused only on the ribbon cutting right now? I mean, you said you got 25 things on your plate and you can balance them all, but like, what are we talking about here?
Sure. Well, I'm focused on getting our website launched and getting that going, and Cutting Edge Success. That had a big jump to get that released. And the launch is officially the ribbon cutting and the business after hours. And that's with the Urbandale Chamber, the Grimes Chamber, the Better Business Bureau, the National Association of Women Business Owners. There's already 200 people RSVP'd, and pending the governor coming, she has yet to miss an event. So I hope she's there. And yes, so that's kind of the official launch, and then we'll be tweaking things as we go. I've already been speaking, and I have some speaking engagements booked. I'll be speaking again at the Rotary Club in Marshalltown on April 22nd, and I have some clients booked for consulting. So things are already pretty much rolling, but that is the official launch, and there'll be lots of food, lots of decorations. We have 20 food vendors booked with sampling and doing their thing, because I like to involve the community. And so I'd say we're already rolling, and then just that's kind of the big ta-da moment.
That's fun. Yeah, you mentioned something there I kind of want to highlight. So you're going to do the ribbon cutting, you're gonna start the business, you're gonna get going, everything's already kind of working, but after the ribbon cutting, maybe you'll change a couple things and just keep going. That speaks volumes, because right back to you, Cheryl, you and I have talked about this. Sometimes you just have to start the thing. It's not going to be 100% perfect right off the bat.
Absolutely.
And guess what? Sometimes, even if it is quote unquote 100% perfect right off the bat, 6 months goes by and you want to change stuff anyways. This worked better than that. Like, guess what? Let's key in on it a little bit more. Maybe it's not what I originally had in mind, but perfection is not what you're looking for right out the gate. Obviously, you want to have a plan and you want to execute it well. But yeah, that was something you said that I feel like I just really needed to highlight, because that's been hitting home, I guess, a lot for me lately.
And a lot of things that we do here, we're always pivoting on. And I crack up because you use that same word all the time. But what really makes an event is, even if something is screwed up, the best thing is that the only ones that know that it's screwed up are us as a team. That nobody else, it was totally seamless otherwise. And what you're able to do behind the scenes, because I've done enough events as well out there. And of course, that's how we became friends, is because of Golden Openings. But knowing how to manage it, and at that time, how to go and resolve the problem, whatever it is. And even if you can't totally resolve it, how you're able to address it with the client.
Absolutely.
That is so important. It's not necessarily that you made a mistake or something screwed up. It's how did you take care of that situation? That can be the one thing that can save it out there, is if you have an issue and how you took care of it.
I mean, we could just make an example. So, like, imagine somebody says, this is the logo I like. I want my website. I want this to look like this and this to look like this. But then when you get it all on a website, they're like, I want to change a couple things. They had this perfect thing in their brain. What you did was perfectly fine, but when it all came down to it, it wasn't quite what they were looking for. And guess what? Both people pivot, change, and make something that is right there for both of them.
Yes. Anything opinionated is tough. That's a tough. It's a tough business, and a lot of the world is based on opinions, and that's when you do have to give in and compromise. And even our website started out cutting-edge-success.com, and we were able to get rid of the dashes. Well, guess what? I already had ordered the business cards and the letterhead, and I had to reorder all that, but who cares?
Well, if anybody's looking for the website, I want to have a link down below, and that's where people can find all your information. We've covered quite a bit of stuff in here. Most of the stuff on my list I've covered. Has there been anything we haven't covered? I do want to say once again, ribbon cutting, April 8th. If you're listening to this the day it came out, it's tomorrow. So change your plans and go to the ribbon cutting.
And it's from 2 to 4, right?
The ribbon cutting starts at 3:30.
Oh, 3:30. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, that's okay.
I've got the whole afternoon blocked off.
Well, you probably have 100 events that day, but yeah, it's 3:30 is the ribbon cutting, and then the business after hours is 4 to 6. And it is located at Primerica. They are our good family, friends, neighbors, and we just had them join the chamber, and they are very active, and we are also partners with them. So they graciously offered their space, because I have yet to even find a space. And they have a great big space that has plenty of room, and they're excited to celebrate with us.
Well, 20 food trucks. We're going to need quite a bit of room. Yeah. And 200 people. That'll be exciting.
Sounds fun. That's awesome. So it's Cutting Edge Success. Once again, all the links are going to be down below in the description section. Kimberly, was there anything you wanted to say before we take off?
I think we covered it all. I'm just grateful for this opportunity and all of your hard work. And we didn't touch on 5-star reviews. That's another thing that's important for businesses.
Very, very, very important.
And I prided ourselves on our A+ review with the Better Business Bureau and 5-star reviews with Golden Openings. I plan to have the same with Cutting Edge Success. And I think that's a big important part for businesses being successful, is helping customers and getting good reviews.
So I'm going to ask, because we're big on reviews too with our clients, pushing it, and they always go, it's just so hard to ask. What are you going to tell your clients when you're consulting with them? How are they supposed to be asking for those reviews? Because sometimes you really need to ask.
That's right. There are services that we can provide that will automatically go in and collect a review. And then if you do receive a negative one, that's okay. So then just how do you deal with it? How do you discuss it with your team? How do you do better? And you learn from that, because not everyone is going to be perfect, and some of them are opinionated. And one thought one thing, one thought another, and then it turns into a war. I've received bad reviews. I'm not perfect. And some of them were opinions. Some of them were not at my mercy. They were at the fault of the shipping or the handling, or something got damaged, and then I took the blame for it. So we just have to move past that. But then when there is a good review and somebody's happy, you want to hear that praise. You want your team to hear that praise. You want to celebrate it. And so you just ask them for a good review, or you have the services ask for those reviews. And that's something I'd like to see more businesses embrace. And then same with awards. We received over 30 local, national, and international awards, and a lot of them we were nominated for. But if you don't apply, you can't qualify, and it is absolutely free press. So if businesses want to apply for awards, that's another thing I'm helping a lot of businesses with. Bob Brown Chevrolet told me they have never received Urbandale Business of the Year, so I'm going to be nominating them for that in September and helping them write their application. So if you guys want to apply for awards, I'm happy to nominate you, write your award, help you write your award, and help you achieve some of those awards.
That's awesome. Well, if there's any of this information that's something that you want to learn more about, once again, click the links in the description, get a hold of Kimberly, see what she's got to say about it. This has been great. It's been really fun.
Thank you.
I mean, we're sitting next to somebody who's running marathons, interacting with the White House, started a company, sold it, giant scissors, gold shovels. It's endless. This is so fun.
It goes all over the whole. I mean,
well, I was like, what all do I write on here? You know, I was like, basically, like, if I have all the questions about all the stuff, it's going to be 5 pages, and we're going to do a 2-hour podcast. You know.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, this was really great. This is so much fun to sit down and talk with you. I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you guys.
thanks, Kimberly.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.